Hello and welcome to Access Asia. Coming up, hospitals without funding, families without food, and people with no way out. France 24 takes a look at the worsening humanitarian situation in Afghanistan. Sports and sedition. India suffered a stinging cricket defeat to its rival Pakistan. We'll take a look at the match's repercussions well after the game was played. And we visit one of China's most iconic national parks, which inspired the film Avatar. And indeed, it has out-of-this-world scenery with its deep canyons, unusual peaks, and dense forest. Well, since the Taliban returned to power in August, life in Afghanistan has become more and more difficult. Billions of dollars in aid money have dried up. Funding for hospitals is non-existent, and many families, in fact, nearly half the population, face acute hunger. Our team on the ground has more.
This state hospital in the heart of Kabul has not received funding since the Taliban takeover.
We don't have any medicine here. We had antibiotics, painkillers and vitamins here, but it's empty now. This water cooler worked before, but not now. We don't even have water to wash our hands.
Patients had to buy their own medicines, gloves or syringes.
The family of this patient had to bring these drugs bought in a pharmacy in town. We don't have enough food for the patients. Winter is here, and we don't have enough fuel for the heating system which we have here.
More than 60 employees have left their jobs because salaries have not been paid for 3 months. Masuda continues her work.
From the moment we put on this white coat, we vowed that we would serve our nation no matter what. We ourselves are in need, but we come anyway.
On this day, the Ministry of Health launches a campaign against polio, but the new Afghan authorities fear that the healthcare system will collapse from within and are calling for the return of development assistance.
Health sector is a non-political body. It has no any relation with the politics. The patients which is admitted in a hospitals, they are the same, which was 2 or 3 months before. The child is the same child. The mother is the same. They are human beings. So according to human rights, we request to all these communities unfreeze all the funds.
The International Red Cross says more than 2,000 health facilities in Afghanistan have recently shut their doors to patients. The scale of the country's crisis can also be seen here at this makeshift camp north of Kabul. Families displaced by the Taliban advance are struggling to feed themselves.
We had 3 glasses of boiled rice for lunch today, that's all. Yesterday we only had bread with tea. Some days we only have that, and other days people give us 1 kilogram of rice here and there.
This morning, my son asked me for money to buy some bread because he was hungry. I told him to wait until my husband came home, but he was too hungry to wait, so I asked our neighbours in the next tent. When my husband came back, he didn't have any money, so we didn't eat.
The UN says 9 out of 10 families in Afghanistan will not have enough food to eat in the coming months.
Now, India noticeably absent from the T20 Cricket World Cup. The team's lackluster performance on the pitch was disappointing to many, but one match in particular caused a lot of controversy well after the Indian side was handed a stinging defeat. For more on this story, we can bring in France 24's own Delano D'Souza. Hello, Delano. Tell us, first of all, about this match against Pakistan.
Well, Will, this match took place on the 24th of October. Now, a cricket match in India is a big deal, but a cricket match against Pakistan is an even bigger deal. You know, people watch it from their offices, they take days off work, sometimes the whole building, you can hear cheering at the same time. People who don't have televisions go to stores selling televisions and stand outside just to watch this match. So the stakes are very high when India is playing Pakistan. The two countries are nuclear armed neighbors. They have a long history. The last time they played each other in the World Cup was 2 years ago in 2019. This match in October took place despite calls for boycott from political leaders in India, this due to the recent uptick in violence in Kashmir. Now, that region, as you know, has been contested by the two sides. India accuses Pakistan of supporting militant groups inside of Kashmir. Now, during the match, which was played between India and Pakistan in October, India lost to Pakistan by 10 wickets and 13 balls. Now, I'm not going to bore you with the details of cricket because I don't know that much about the sport. But like everything else that happens nowadays, the match gets dissected on social media. And that's when the trouble starts to come in, because many people started blaming the only Muslim player on the team for India's loss to Pakistan. Mohammad Shami is his name. Now, the Indian cricket team could be extremely influential when it comes to, setting records straight in the country, but for the most part, they choose to remain silent. But not this time. The Indian captain, Virat Kohli, came out and issued a very tough statement. Take a listen to what he had to say.
There's a good reason why we are playing on the field and not some bunch of spineless people on social media that have no courage to actually speak to any individual in person. They hide behind identities and go after people through social media, making fun of people. And that has become a source of entertainment in today's world, which is so unfortunate and so sad to see, because this is literally the lowest level of human potential that one can operate at. And that's how I look at these people.
There you heard from Virat Kohli calling trolls spineless, and he goes on to add that attacking someone over their religion is the most pathetic thing a human being can do. And this statement from the Indian captain was really well received because he didn't mince his words. It was a very blunt message, and he took a stand saying this is the team will be united regardless of whatever divisiveness is going on in the country.
Now, the fact that the captain came out at all symptomatic of a larger problem.
Indeed, because the fact is the captain had to come out in defense of the team's only Muslim player. And this says a lot. This is something we have witnessed in India over the past few years. The climate in the country has changed. It's become very divisive. Muslims in the country often have to prove their Indianness, if you will. If a Muslim journalist, for instance, writes an article and posts it on Twitter, they're attacked for being Muslim and often told, go back to Pakistan. You saw now with the cricket match, if a Muslim player doesn't perform as well as people think they need to perform, it's go back to Pakistan. So there's always this need for them to prove their Indianness. So it happens with cricket, and if you thought we were done talking about the cricket match, you're wrong, because in the aftermath of the match, there have been multiple arrests made in India on charges of sedition. It seems completely ridiculous because they were cheering the Pakistani side that they would even face the threat of arrest. It's like if you and I were out here in Paris while France was playing some other team and we were cheering the other team, we would never face arrest. But the fact that this is happening in India, it's worrying. For instance, we know that anti-India sentiment in the state of Kashmir is high. A group of students have been charged under a strict anti-terror law for allegedly supporting Pakistan. But arrests have not been restricted to Kashmir. A teacher in the state of Rajasthan, for instance, who happens to be Muslim, was fired from her job and arrested, charged with sedition. Why? Because she changed the status of her WhatsApp to "We won." And had a picture of the Pakistani team. Now, while passions run high in India when it comes to cricket, the latest arrests and charges have demonstrated that the space for freedom of expression in the country is rapidly dwindling. In a country that prides itself on being the world's largest democracy, this is something to worry about.
All right, thank you very much, Delano D'Souza reporting there. All right. Time to change gears now, and we go to Central Eastern China, where there's a UNESCO World Heritage Site, and perhaps the most beloved part is a national forest with slim, steep peaks, deep canyons, and pillowy clouds. Now, the landscape is breathtaking and has even inspired the movie Avatar. Catherine Viet has more.
It looks as if it's from another world, somewhere between the sky and the ground. This stone forest is touted as the Grand Canyon of China. Their peaks sculpted by time, the mountains of Zhangjiajie are a unique natural treasure, existing only in Hunan province. In order to visit them, you must take one of the tallest and fastest outdoor elevators in the world.
Welcome to the Balong elevator. We're going to climb 326 meters at a speed of 5 meters per second.
The elevators can transport 1,380 people an hour. At the summit, it's a steady stream of visitors all year round. The elevators opened in 2002, but not without controversy. Critics said it would damage the rock face. However, one of the park employees says the elevators have improved access to the area.
Before, when there were no elevators, it took us 3 hours to climb on foot, around 6,000 steps to climb. Now we get to the top in less than 2 minutes.
The landscape is dotted by more than 3,000 floating mountains. Local wildlife includes monkeys, and there are many different species of flora and fauna to be found in the park. Classified a UNESCO World Heritage Site, more than 3 million tourists visit each year.
It's fantastic here.
It's one of the places to see in China. I've always wanted to come here.
The park was relatively unknown, even in China. But that all changed after the movie Avatar was released.
The Avatar film crew came here in 2008 without letting anyone know. When the film came out, we noticed that their landscape and their mountain were exactly the same as ours. So we asked them about it, and they confirmed it.
I'm floating in the air.
It's designed to carry up to 800 people at a time, but it's not for the faint-hearted or those afraid of heights.
Just the glass, like if you don't look down, it's okay.
It's the worst day of my life.
There are more than 120 glass panels, and each one is triple-layered and made of 5-centimeter thick tempered glass. Officials say the bridge is perfectly safe and a popular spot for selfies.
All right, well, we're going to stay in China. And Beijing welcomed its first snow of the season 23 days earlier than normal years. Hundreds of thousands of people went outdoors to enjoy some snowy tourist spots like the Forbidden City. Now, usually, snow and precipitation are hard to come by in the cooler months, but there's hope it could kickstart the snowy season less than 100 days until Beijing hosts the Winter Olympics. That's it for this edition. Thank you for watching, and please stay tuned to France 24.